Hi, welcome to 5 Minute Book Reviews with Fee, and this is part 2 of my review of Jada Pinkett Smith's book, Memoir. So the book is like 14 hours, and I will just say my overall feeling was it was okay. I think everybody has, like I said, the right to tell their story. This was a lot. It also seemed like there wasn't a clear vision for the book, because it seems like part memoir, part defense of her relationship with Will, part defense of her parenting of her children, and part just like a rebuttal of all of the rumors that have gone around about them in the past. And when I read a memoir, when I read, and I know I shouldn't compare, but Cicely Tyson's Just As I Am, I was just like, oh my gosh, what did she, how she added to the zeitgeist, how she added to humanity, how she added to the culture. She was an activist when it could totally ruin your livelihood. She knew all of these great people and had all these wonderful stories, like this immigrant story, which Jada Pinkett, her family, she comes from a family of immigrants. I just wanted something that I could relate to. When I read Vivica Fox's Every Day I'm Hustling, I'm like, oh my gosh, Vivica went and lived her dream, and she reinvented herself a number of times, and she got that hustler in her. I can relate. I could not relate to Jada. I mean, I grew up in the hood. I never wanted to sell drugs. I never wanted to be a queen pin. But, that was her story. That was her life. It was just a lot. Like, if she had cut some of that, and it was almost like she didn't say, oh, it's almost like she glorified it. Like, oh, look at me. I'm that chick, which I'm not saying some people feel like they don't have regrets, I guess, and everything was a lesson. But it's just some things I couldn't relate to. I couldn't relate to getting into that ayahuasca, the plant medicine that she calls it, which everyone else knows is a hallucinogenic, and introducing her family to it, her kids, and I can't get with that. I don't relate to it. I grew up in the hood too, and I saw what drugs do to people, and it's still a drug, but I will yield to the fact that I have not done a whole lot of research. I am just anti-drug. But I can relate to that. And the Tupac stories, OMG, the Tupac stories. There were so many Tupac stories. And reenactments of conversations with Tupac, like OMG. I grew up in the 90s. I know the affinity that a lot of young men have for Tupac. I know Dear Mama, when Jada writes that he wrote Dear Mama for their mothers, and then she says, well, he really wrote it for his mother. And I'm like, what? What? I don't know. I wanted to like it. I don't want to be negative, but I have an obligation to be honest. And it was a lot. And when it came to Will, she had spent all this time and in depth and all this reenactment of Tupac, and it's like, well, he was my prince, and he flew me around the world, and he showered me with gifts, and I fell in love. Next. And I don't know, that's my impression when I was listening to this on my commute every day, and I kept looking at the chapters to see where I was, because I'm like, when is this going to be over? Like, it was a lot. I have to say something good. I didn't know Jada Pinkett, was did so much for advocating for child sex trafficking survivors, and so that was very admirable. So I got to give her that. I don't know.